Hi, I'm Samantha Karges with the Humboldt County Joint Information Center, and I'm here today with Executive Pastor Matt Lehman at Faith Center Foursquare Church, where just like many other places of worship across the county, they've reopened their facility for services following state COVID-19 safety guidelines. We wanted to take some time today to walk you through the precautions being taken by local places of worship. While it's not mandatory, the Joint Information Center highly recommends your place of worship submit a COVID-19 business reopening plan at humboldtgov.org. Your plan will be reviewed and once certified, will be posted on our website so that the public can know that you're following all COVID-19 related safety guidelines. Today, Matt and I are going to go through the guidance together and talk about what Faith Center is doing to meet those standards and keep others safe. You ready, Matt?
I am.
All right, let's get started. The first part of the safety plan guidance involves employee and volunteer training. If your place of worship relies on employees or volunteers, they should be provided information on COVID-19 symptoms, screening, and when to see medical attention, proper social distancing, hand washing, and proper use of face coverings. Matt, what special trainings does Faith Center provide for their employees and volunteers?
Yeah, so what we did before we opened is we took time to teach all of our staff and then also ask them to teach their volunteers to talk about the guidelines for reopening safely. We covered the topics of how to self-screen at home, how to use our health check station when you arrive each day for work, proper hygiene and hand washing skills, the requirements for usage of masks and social distancing, changes to public use areas such as meeting rooms, break rooms, and lunch areas, and the implementation of glass or plexiglass barriers in certain areas for increased protection. We want our staff to make sure they can instruct all their volunteers on the safety of all those items.
Matt, what is Faith Center doing to make sure that your staff and visitors stay safe?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we want to make sure that our staff and our volunteers knew that they needed to abide by the guidelines set in place by the local level, the county, and the state. And so we made up this graphic to help inform them. We put this on our social media pages. We also have it printed off at our facility. It allows people to see ahead of time what we're going to ask them to do to come to our building safely. Also, when people arrive, we want to make sure they have everything that they need. So you'll see here that we have a wellness check area. We have these tables at every public entrance. It allows people to get masks as needed, hand sanitizer, gloves, and also to take their temperature to make sure they're safe to enter our facility. We also provide Clorox wipes to wipe down the thermometers and other commonly touched areas to make sure people can visit us safely. And so really it's about communication, letting people know what to expect, and then providing them what they would need to do that safely.
That's great. The next part of our safety plan has to do with cleaning in high traffic areas, so we're going to head over to Faith Center Sanctuary lobby to learn more. Because places of worship gather many people from different households, it's important that facilities follow strict cleaning and disinfecting protocols to help limit the possibility of surface transmission. Places of worship should be sure to thoroughly clean and disinfect high traffic areas. Disinfect items that must be shared between shifts or uses, including music equipment, podiums, and camera equipment. Wash religious garments and linens after each service or event. Use alternatives to traditional giving or communion. Mark walking paths between spaces where someone may touch their head to the floor, and increase ventilation with fresh air when meetings occur. Matt, I know Faith Center is pretty large and you've implemented a lot of interesting ideas in order to keep the facility safe. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've done in addition to our regular cleaning is we now spray all the seats in the sanctuary between every service with a product that is tested to kill COVID-19. We've also installed safe handles on all of our exterior doors and interior doors that the public uses. And that's a plastic-like material that has been proven to kill COVID if someone were to touch that handle with COVID. We are also asking our tech team to not share mics between individuals, and we are sanitizing all mics, all podiums, anything that's used up on the stage at the end of every weekend service. So those are some of the things that we have implemented.
Great, sounds like a good plan. Well, the next part of the safety plan is physical distancing. So let's go inside the sanctuary to see what Faith Center is doing to help facilitate distance. Places of worship have been called super spreaders for COVID-19 due to the proximity of attendees and common acts of worship like singing and reciting. With this in mind, the state's guidance for churches has many recommendations when it comes to physical distancing. For example, places of worship must limit attendance to 25% of building capacity or a max of 100 attendees, whichever is lower. Put in place measures to ensure at least 6 feet between staff and visitors. This includes reconfiguring seating areas and discontinuing children activities for the time being. Shorten service times and consider offering additional meeting times to reduce the number of people in the facility. Limit touching, like holding hands, hugging, or handshakes. Matt, what physical distancing measures has Faith Center put in place to keep the community safe?
Yeah, so one of the big things that we need to do, and what you'll see in the room behind us, is we've taken our chairs and we have put them into individual pods so that families can come in and they can find a pod that would fit their family size. And each of the chair pods is 6 feet away from any other chairs. This ensures that people can come in and find a seat but still be safe. We also ask children to stay with their families at all times. Which can be difficult, but we just remind them to stay in their pod. We provided activity bags for kids so they can have some coloring and some things to do while they're in the service so they can stay safe. We also ensure that our worship team up on the stage and speakers on the stage who are not masked while they're on the stage are 15 feet at least from everyone else, so a larger distance from anyone who may not have a mask on. We also took out all of our self-serve or common use items. We're no longer using paper programs at this time. We're no longer passing our offering plates. Instead, we have ushers hold them at the door so people can give on their way out safely. So these are a number of the things that we have done to cooperate with the county on keeping our church safe.
There are other special considerations places of worship must take into account in their safety plans, like discontinue self-service food and beverages, including potlucks. Consider modifications to your service when it comes to singing or reciting, kissing ritual objects, shared communion, cups, and other high-risk activities. Make sure staff and volunteers are washing their hands frequently or wearing gloves, and modifying practices for funerals and visitations. Matt, what modifications has Faith Center made in order to keep your staff and volunteers safe?
Yeah, so at this time, we're no longer having any large food gatherings. Unfortunately, no more church potlucks for the time being. We do offer coffee, but only out of our new coffee bar and only for carry-out service because it's a little hard to drink with the masks on. We also health screen all of our volunteers when they come to serve. And we have asked visitors during the week, if they visit our front office, to not go into the main part of our building, but to stay out in the front reception area unless absolutely necessary to go in. We purchased self-service individual communion cups that we provide to people as they walk in, so we don't have to pass the communion trays in service. And we've also canceled all on-site children and youth services, and so children and youth, if they do come, can only come to the main service and have to be with their parents. So those are some of the things that we've done to follow those recommended guidelines.
Great. Well, that sounds like you're doing a really good job here at Faith Center. You're following the guidelines. Thanks for taking time to talk a little bit more about it today. Thanks so much for joining us for this video. I'm here now with lead pastor of Faith Center Foursquare Church, Matt Messner, who they opened the church, pretty much immediately once the safety guidance was given out, and they're still doing live streaming for those more vulnerable populations. Matt, can you do you have any advice for other churches or places of worship who want to get things up and going?
Yeah, it's really not that difficult to follow the parameters and the protocols that have been issued by the state, which are being reinforced also by our county. So because we don't know how long this is going to go on, I think churches need to take those steps to bring people back together. Because although online worship is a valid means of worship, some people don't have internet access. Some people are just longing for some community. And so although our attendance is limited, and although many people are still sheltering at home, we believe that meeting in person meets a need that is really important at this time. Absolutely. So go for it, do the social distancing, wear masks, and, do what you have to do to be able to meet. You can still live stream, obviously, so it's not creating twice as much work. You can live stream your socially distanced services.
Great. Thank you so much, and thanks for letting us in here today.
Yeah, thank you.